Hello everyone, this is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier here at No Soundbites Allowed, and I'm always happy to be here with you guys. Obviously, there is a somber tone to things these days as the coronavirus has been kicking in. Now, regardless of whether or not we believe the coronavirus is as serious as many have predicted or theorized, whatever you may think about that, it doesn't really matter. At this point, we know that globally there is a global fear, and we know that a lot has been happening because of that. So let's look forward. What can we expect? What are some of the things we should be looking out for? What should we be thinking about? And obviously in the coming days, I'm going to be talking more and more about that and letting you know, as soon as I know, some of the things that are happening. But I expect that there's a couple things. One, I've talked to a lot of people. They've been asking me questions. I'll try and stay as informed as I can. What I can tell you is that we're looking at, I would say, plan for 6 months. 6 months, not necessarily of what we're seeing right now, but 6 months of difficult times. We know that many businesses are cutting their hours, that people have, in many industries, we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about the food industry, restaurants, a lot of the services. We know that people are out of work as we speak. And probably, I mean, just looking at New York State, there's at least 2 million people who are now without work as of 8 o'clock last night. We know that there's at least another 2 million people who have reduced work schedules. That's at a minimum. So this is a domino. This is going to have a large effect on many people, not just now, but in the months to come. We're going to see this affect tourism in the summer, obviously, because students will be having extended schedules, and so they're not going to be able to take the summer vacations. And there may be still lingering effects of this coronavirus because we have not hit the peak yet. And that's probably not for another 3 weeks, maybe. So what are some of the things we have to be aware of? What are some of the things we have to take into account? Because rent, water, electric, cable, your phone, these are bills that are not changing, or at least at this moment, have not changed for anybody. Plan accordingly. Plan for 6 months. Be ahead of this. Think about it. Think about what are your essential items. Think about your neighbors as well. If you don't need 3 cartons of eggs, don't buy 3 cartons of eggs. Sounds like a simple thing, but I've had many people who've talked to me that they're going to 3, 4 stores just to get a dozen eggs because they're sold out, because people are hoarding. This doesn't help. Yeah, I understand. Everyone wants to have food, but the more you're taking, if you don't need it, the less someone else has available to be able to get it. And as long as the trucks are still running in the nation, food will continue to be delivered. Things are still going to be available. There may be less of it, but it's going to be there. Don't let the panic take over and cause you to harm others by accident because of the consequences of what you're doing. We all have to work together here. You know, this is very similar to when I was in the Northridge earthquake in California. The community banded together. We bought food, and we bought it en masse for the entire area, and we had cookouts every day. We would grill outside the yards, even though the earthquake had knocked out all the electricity and a lot of the power, the water and gas. We were able to go out and have gas grills with the entire neighborhood. All the kids would come over, and we just cook enough for everyone to eat. That's an idea. Maybe it's something that can work in your community. It's something at least to think about. And it's something to think about when you're buying food. If you can get the entire neighborhood and you're all working together on that, maybe that helps everyone eat. It's something to consider at the very least. Plan out your spending. Think about it now and think about the next 6 months. What do you need for your bills? If you have reduced schedules of work, if you're out of work, what is it can you cut back on? We all have to think about this. All of the essentials have to be taken care of, and then everything else needs to be scaled back. And obviously, there's a lot less entertainment to be able to spend money on, but we all need to be somewhat entertained. You know, plan to rent movies, to buy DVDs, board games to play with your kids, maybe computer games that don't need to be online. These are all things that might help. I'm trying to think of anything that can help everyone in my audience who is listening anywhere in the world, be very aware and be very careful. I've been told about incidents of identity theft that are going on right now. I know of an individual, a family member, that was being confronted in New York City because someone was trying to take advantage of identity theft. With all of the panic that's going on, with all of the distractions for the police services, they're trying to use that to their advantage and say, hey, well, no one's paying attention to this. This isn't a high priority. Be very aware, be vigilant right now. Be able to protect yourself. Know about what's going on in your surrounding and pay attention. And be aware that there are some bad people out there who are going to use this to their advantage to try and steal your identity, try and get you with phone scams, who are going to try and give you with health scams. Obviously, we've heard about the individual who was trying to use eBay to sell toilet paper at an exorbitant price, gouging. These are things we have to be aware of, and as a community, work together to prevent. If you know someone is doing something, or you believe it's doing something that's not correct, if they're pretending to be a police officer or a health services person, and they're trying to get you to do something that doesn't sound right, notify the police, notify your authorities, take precautions. Don't do something that would endanger yourself. If you don't feel safe, don't do it. And if it doesn't sound right, double check. Find out to be sure. Something else that's very important, and I know a lot of people have not been talking about this yet. What's going to be happening in the next 3 months, the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? Obviously, a lot of people are expecting there's going to be a baby boom. It's kind of funny, but you know what? If you don't want to have more children, take precautions. That's important, and that's something that's a real concern. How about let's take it into also concern, one of the other things that's a major issue, suicide. A lot of our neighbors in this time are going to be depressed. People are losing their jobs. People are unsure of the future. Some people are losing the opportunity to go out in their neighborhoods to just, you'd be amazed how simple it is for people just to feel better because they're around other people, being social. Whether it's sitting in a bar or going out to a restaurant for dinner or watching a movie, they no longer have that outlet. They can't feel social. Be aware of your neighbors. Be aware of your friends. Look out for people who are feeling depressed because they're not working, because they're not being social. And look out for them and help them. And be aware, because suicides will probably increase because people are going to be depressed in this time. And we have to look out for our friends and neighbors on that. Members of the military. We have to be aware of this. We have to be careful about this. And yes, at the moment I'm at work talking to you, but that's because I'm taking every opportunity I can to speak out to you. And I think that's one of the major concerns right now is work. That's a big one. Suicide. It's a big concern. It's not being spoken about enough, and that's something that we need to talk about. And that's something we have to watch out for all of us. It's too easy. Going with that also is drug abuse. We have to watch out for people who are going to succumb to drugs because they are depressed, because they're looking to escape, because of all the fear that is out there. Please don't take drugs. This is not something to do. Don't fall into the fear. Try and keep yourself active. Reach out to your friends. Social media is still there. It is still an outlet. It's a way to talk to people, to stay connected. Even if you can't reach them individually, directly in person, reach out to them. Look out for our elderly. That's another thing. I'm not saying anything that's brand new. I'm not saying anything that you probably haven't thought about, but maybe some people haven't. Maybe some people aren't aware. There's always a way to reach out. You don't need to use drugs. You don't need to do suicide. You need to, the social aspect still exists. And let's make sure we can do that. And that's for the next 30 days. And like I said, plan out. Think ahead. I myself am looking at the stock market. I'm looking at making investments. I'll tell you, one of the things I'm looking at is Alcoa aluminum. It's a stable business. It's a stable industry. We're going to need metal. We're going to need aluminum. That's something to look forward to. Plan out your investments. Plan out the future if you can. Use the funds that you have available to make sure that going forward, you're going to be in the best position possible.
Yeah.
And I understand a lot of people are saying, well, why isn't the federal government doing more? Why isn't, there was a couple of governors, my governor in particular, that have said, oh, why isn't the federal government making these rules for everyone?
Yeah, no,
it's called the 10th Amendment. It's the right of states to do their own thing. And obviously, I'm at work, as you can hear in the background. I'm here at work and I'm still talking to you. Yeah, the federal government can't do everything when there's 85 deaths only. The federal government doesn't have that power. States have to make their decisions, and they have to make the best decision for their local communities. Local leaders have to make the best decisions for their local communities. So please, rely on them. Don't look for the federal government. Don't look for government to answer all of your questions at this time, to answer every problem you may have. Look to your neighbors. Look to your local community. Look to your friends. And start there and go forward. And I guarantee you, if we're doing that, we're all going to be a lot better. We're going to come together. I've been through several serious events. Nothing like this pandemic, but serious events. Coup attempts and fires, earthquakes, floods. I've seen communities come together in the worst of times and survive and do well and become stronger. I know everyone who's watching this will also become stronger and be better. And we just have to look out for each other. So these are some of the things that I'm sharing with you. Maybe there are better ideas. Maybe you have some. Share them. Reach out to me at MV Consult on Twitter. Reach out at Voss Political Commentary on Facebook. Reach out at this on YouTube, No Soundbites Allowed. Let me know your ideas, things that are working in your community, things that are helping you. And for parents, please check on the CDC website. Double check for your children and for anyone that may be of high risk to see what the symptoms are as we learn more and more of how to identify this crisis and be able to address it. It's no longer about whether or not the media has hyped this too much. They probably have. But let's go into an outlook of what are we going to do in the next 30 days, the next 60 days, the next 6 months, the next 9 months. Because the economics, the overall impact of this is going to continue. So the best thing we can do is let's find a solution. I hope you join me in this. I hope you believe in this as well. And I hope everyone gets to hear this. Hopefully it helps a few people. And I'm going to be on continuously to try and help people as well. And any information I can provide and continuing to do what I do. I thank you all. I hope everyone will be healthy and okay. And I'll talk to you again very soon. This is Michael Voss with No Soundbites Allowed. I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.